Hello, boils and ghouls. um, my doctor told me I need to stop doing that. Hey, everybody, this is Josh Ronquist here for another Heavy Debriefings bracket fight. And since it's Halloween, why don't I do a little bracket fight and be a basic little white bread individual here and do the best horror movie icons in its own little tournament style bracket fight here. For anyone that knows me, I did not grow up watching horror movies after I saw Child's Play 3 when I was a very little kid. I could never take another horror movie seriously. But over the last several years, I started to appreciate horror movies a little bit more. And then I started to really appreciate them, and I've always watched them growing up, but I don't get scared during movies. Like, I find something more in a thriller or something dealing with mental health issues much more scarier than slashers or psychological terror or whatever that Pray for the Devil Possession bullcrap seems to be hitting the movie theaters as of back on Friday. But all of that said, I do have appreciation for it now, and I'm able to look at things like Leprechaun or Jason or Freddy Krueger or Candyman or that tiny little guy from Trick or Treat, and I'm able to appreciate everything that goes into them. There's a fun factor there, not a scary factor. And if you look at horror movies as just trying to scare you, you'll probably end up feeling like I have for so long. But if you just look at it from an entertainment and fun factor feel, and not take it seriously, you'll be able to appreciate it that much more. So let's do some shuffling of the seating here. I am not going to look since Bracket Fights loves to show you what that could be on top, because I just want this to be completely as random as possible. That's why I'm talking right now instead of looking down and seeing what the icons could be. Stop. Now, 3 more. Okay, mashup mode time. Leprechaun versus the girl from Ring or Ringy, depending on which version you like more. Look, Leprechaun's a silly little bastard. I have to go with him. Ghostface, which I never really got into the Scream movies, versus Leatherface. Face versus face. It's a face-off. Yeah, Leatherface. Is that the chick from The Ring again? Sorry, I don't know my horror movies as well as I thought I did. But I see a xenomorph right there, and I'm not going to say no to the queen of the xenomorphs. Sam from Trick or Treat versus a man that could have been me had my life been a little bit different. Good old Norman Bates, that is. Especially after just watching Trick or Treat, and he's just a cute little bastard. Again, like, yeah, there's something about Norman Bates, and I do feel like Psycho is a perfect horror movie from start to finish. And I love the crisscross of ideas that you think things are going to be going in one direction, and then it completely switches on you, and it becomes a focus of something else. Where, as I've learned, Trick or Treat is a combination of horror and Pulp Fiction. So this movie was basically made for me. I ignored it for a long time, and then I finally got to watch it and appreciated it this year. I actually got to see it on a movie screen, which was mighty nice. But, yeah, gonna go with that cute little bastard Sam. Leprechaun versus Leatherface. Look, only one of these two got to smoke pot with Ice-T and then murder him. Gotta go Leprechaun. Sam versus the Xenomorphs, or the Queen Xenomorph, I guess you should say. Those Alien movies really dropped off in quality after a while, did they not? Whereas, as of right now, there's only one Trick or Treat album, so you can't ruin the legacy of Sam yet, because until a sequel happens, you can't say it got better or worse. Going Sam. And finally here, we got Leprechaun versus Sam. Same thing as I just said, but Leprechaun, you could never really take seriously. I mean, whether he's in Vegas, whether he's in the hood, or the hood again, or in space, they're just funny movies. And they knew what they were right from the beginning. And Trick or Treat is just a fine quality film from beginning to end. But when you think about Halloween, the longer legacy goes to Leprechaun. But if you're looking for scarier, it's actually Sam. It is the battle of the short little tykes, and again, just because I watched it this year and I have a new found appreciation for this little feller here, as shocking as it sounds, even beating out a xenomorph, I'm going Sam. Here we go. Michael Myers versus the guy from Saw. Only ever saw the first Saw movie, never wanted to watch any other ones, whereas Halloween, the first two are really all that you need to see, and I mean the originals. I did enjoy the first Rob Zombie Halloween. I know a lot of people didn't like it because it told the backstory of Michael Myers, and you just wanted to be this evil entity that you don't want to know the backstory of, whereas I had a fucked up childhood as well. I loved seeing that his childhood was as messed up as mine for different reasons, but you know, it takes an effect on you. And the new 3 Halloween movies, which, does Halloween 2 count? Or is it straight from the original Halloween? Like, did the whole stuff with the hospital stuff happen in canon now with the new trilogy? I'm kind of lost on that. I'm kind of rambling as well, too. It might just be 4 movies, or it could be 5 in canon, depending on how it's going, but that trilogy just got worse and worse. Whereas with Saw, you know, it's like I never gave anything past the original Saw a chance, so I could be missing out on a lot of stuff. But it's also not stuff that I'm interested in. So for that, I'm going Mike Myers. Yeah, vibe! Chucky versus Jason's mom. As a person with mother problems, father problems, family problems, I can see why she is one of the most evil people to ever grace the silver screen. Although it was never about like hurting Jason, it was about hurting all the people that she felt wasn't under her grace of God. Whereas with Chucky, the first album was meant to be kind of taken seriously, and then they, just like Leprechaun, they realized what they were, and then all of a sudden you just get parodies of horror movies and stuff to laugh at. Like, the deaths in later Chucky movies are funny, not scary. Whereas with here, that's just the original icon of the slasher material along with Mike Myers, and you know, obviously Jason didn't even have the hockey mask until the 3rd movie, which a lot of people forget about. Considering she isn't the, no pun intended, face of Friday the 13th, and Jason became that way, I don't feel like she holds as much power as Jason eventually does because of all the crap that she does to her son. Whereas with Chucky, I love the cynical take that Child's Play eventually just became. So yeah, I'm gonna go Chucky. Pennywise versus Jaws. Oddly enough, these are both monster movies. You know, a shark versus a spider. I like both incarnations of it. The original ones in the, oh god, it's like over 30 years ago now. That life is just flashing before my eyes. What have I become? Versus Jaws, where you really only need to see the first movie. The second one if you want to, but everything after that, it just really starts to fall apart. So, yeah, whether it's Tim Curry or the Clint Howard of the Skarsgård brothers, I'm going with Pennywise. Freddy Krueger versus the one from The Exorcist, which I totally forgot. I know her real name, Blair, but you can't say no to Freddy. He has the legendary one-liners. He is that face of evil. And I'm not just saying it just because he is iconic. I'm saying it because the movies are good. And by good, I mean some of them are completely terrible, but terribly fun to watch. Whereas Selma Blair, only shows up in the first Exorcist movie. Really, it's about Pazuzu. It's not about her. So for that reason alone, I gotta go Freddy. Michael Myers versus Chucky, a series that became funny because it knew what it was, versus a film series that became funny because it wasn't meant to be funny. I'm going Chucky. Pennywise versus Freddy Krueger. Naughty night, bitch. Again, I feel like both movie incarnations of it, and of course taking out that infamous naked scene that will get me demonetized if I talk about it on YouTube. Thankfully, neither movie adaptation has that because I think there would be a lot of people in prison right now. Versus Freddy Krueger, who also had some stuff to do with children. Funny how both of that works out. I'm not going to say the words. Obviously, if you know what's going on, you know what I'm talking about. Ooh, well, that's a little bit creepier now the more I think about it. But all of that said, I have more fond memories of Freddy Krueger than I do Pennywise, so I'm going Freddy. Chucky versus Freddy. Both tried to start off being scary and then got more hilarious as time went on. Both had reboots that were abominations. One had a failed TV series. One has a TV series that's still going, apparently. And for all you wrestling fans out there, apparently WWE's Liv Morgan got killed in the latest episode. But anyways, I think because Child's Play 3 took me out of horror movies for so long, and I couldn't take them seriously and didn't want to watch them because I still had that preconceived notion that all of it was supposed to be scary and terrifying instead of enjoying it for the fun factor of it all, which is how I appreciate them now. I think I have to go Freddy here because, you know, I'm able to enjoy the Nightmare on Elm Street series a bit more than I do Child's Play. And finally here we got Sam and we got Freddy Krueger. And boy, oh boy. The king of the one-liners in horror movies versus just a cute little bastard. Do I want to be basic and mid and vote for Freddy, or do I want to try to seem cool to everybody and pick Sam? There's no losing, but there's no winning with this either, because you could really go either way. I guess I'm gonna take this up to the movie part of this all and say that, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street has Dream Warriors, and it has Dawkins. This had Marilyn Manson and Sweet Dreams, which is really fucking hard to listen to now in 2022. Which is the only part of the movie that makes me tug my collar a little bit. So, Kid versus Kid Predator. Oh boy, does that sound wrong the way if I finish that sentence. But to change that all around, I'm gonna go Freddy. And as things are freezing up on here again, it's going to show that everything's going slow, and I would have to restart everything. I'm just going to leave it to your judgment to know that right there you can see Freddy in the winning position. And I feel like there was a lot more mascots and people, horror movie icons that you could have thrown in here, but I think this was a nice little touch, and I am more basic than I realized. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, you know what to do to be able to keep seeing more of this. And until next time, this is Josh Ronquist for Heavy Debriefings saying, see ya.